Hello class, and welcome to Note 7.G.6, Volume of Pyramids. Solve real-world and mathematical problems involving area, volume, and surface area of 2- and 3-dimensional objects composed of triangles, quadrilaterals, polygons, cubes, and right prisms. For our formulas today, we only have one true formula, which is volume of a pyramid, which is 1/3 of the base area times the height of the pyramid, or 1/3 capital BH. Remember that capital B stands for base area, not base. It is different than the base. So you have to use a formula to solve. So I've got a couple examples of different types of pyramids we might run into. One would be a rectangular pyramid, in which case that capital B, that formula to find the area of the base, would be length times width, or base times height, but since we already have this height out here, we would use length times width, so it's less confusing. Volume of triangular pyramid. Now this one is seemingly very confusing with the 1/3 and the 1/2, but it's not too bad. We'll go over that. What you do want to watch out for, there's two different heights here. Inside the parentheses is the height of the triangle. The outside height is the height of the prism, and remember that's, or pyramid, excuse me. That's this right here, the height of the pyramid. And if the base is a square pyramid, you could use your rectangular pyramid formula, or you could use side squared. Either will work. Okay, so let's take a look at our first teacher example, find the volume of the pyramid. Now notice in the picture, the base is a hexagon, and we have not gone over the formula for finding the area of a hexagon. So you don't need to actually find the area of the base, it's already been found for you. We already have our capital B right here, so I don't have to do any work to find it. So of course I always start by writing my formula. Now for my capital B, I don't have to do any math. Again, we've already got the 48. And then for my height of my pyramid, it is no longer the slant height that we were using in the surface area. Now it is the actual height, which is the vertical up and down height. So notice we've got our box showing that it is a right angle from the point down into the center of the base. It does not come out to the outside. It's not the slant height. It's shorter than the slant height. So I can plug my numbers in, and now I can find 1/3 of either one of these numbers. 3 actually goes into both of these numbers. Remember, multiplying by 1/3 is the same thing as dividing by 3. So I can either take 9 and divide it by 3, or I can divide 48 by 3. It doesn't actually matter which one I choose. So let's say that I divided 9 by 3, I would have gotten 3. 48 times 3 is 144. Now, of course, as I already know, I cannot leave my answer like this. I need my units, and volume is always cubed. So 144 cubic millimeters. Okay, let's take a look at teacher example 2. Now notice we actually have to find the area of the base, and I do have a little hint over here for you. The area of the base of a rectangular pyramid is a product of the length and the width. So you can use V equals 1/3 length times width times height to find the volume of a rectangular pyramid. That's what we were just talking about. I need to find the area of this base first. So of course I write down my formula. Now what I would do is write a second formula with, instead of base area, using length times width. Then I can plug in my numbers, my length, my width, and then the height of the pyramid, remember, needs to go from the point at the top of the pyramid, or it could be laying on its side, but this point here, all the way to the base, and it needs to make that right angle, so you always are looking for that symbol. Okay, so I've plugged my numbers in. Now I need to multiply one of these by 1/3, which would be the same thing as dividing by 3. As I can see here, the easiest number to divide by 3 would be 3. 3 divided by 3, of course, is 1, so all I have to do is 4 times 7, which is 28. So I've now made the problem much easier. And of course I do need my units, as always, 28 cubic feet. And remember, you can also write that as FT with an exponent of 3. Okay, the base here I see is a triangle, so I write my initial formula, and then you can rewrite that formula, but instead of having that capital B, having 1/2 base times height. Do remember that the red, everything in the red refers to the base of the pyramid. The blue is the height of the pyramid, so that blue H has to be this 10 right here, because it does go from the point up here, that vertex, all the way down, and is perpendicular to the base. So I can go ahead and plug my numbers in here. Now again, as I said before, when you have 1/3 and 1/2, it looks very confusing. What I would do is I would split it up. 1/3 is the harder number to work with, so I'd look over here and see if any of these numbers can be divided by 3 easily. I see right away 6 can, so 6 divided by 3 is 2. And then I can take my 1/2 and I can divide something by 2. Now I can do 2 divided by 2 because I've turned this into a 2, or 10 divided by 2, which would give me a 5. It doesn't matter the order. I'm going to go ahead and do 2 divided by 2 just to make this 6 go away entirely. So now I've got 17 and 5/10 times 10, which means I just move the decimal one place, 175. And of course I need my units, cubic meters. Okay, so you want to watch out for these. These aren't any harder. It's just telling you to divide one of the numbers by 2 and the other one by 3. Okay, or you can divide them both by 2 and then by 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and go on to some student practice. Go ahead and do these 3 problems. When you're ready to see your answers, go ahead and press play. Okay, welcome back. Let's take a look and see how you did. For this first problem, we're given the base area, so I don't need to find it. So I write down my formula. For the capital B, I plug in 21, and for the H, I plug in 6. And then I can choose to divide any of them by 3. I'm going to choose to divide 21 by 3 just because it's such a large number. I want to make it a little easier. So now I've turned 21 into 7, and I still have my 6. 7 times 6, of course, is 42. Don't forget, we do need our units, and our units will need to be cubed, which I will show you in a little bit. Okay, problem number 2. We have, this time we're not given the base area, so I have my formula. I need to rewrite my formula. Notice the shape of my base. It looks like a square, but these numbers tell me it's not a square. It is actually a rectangle. So I plug in my formula for area of a rectangle right here, length times width. Now I can plug in all my numbers. The length times width, remember, is looking at the base, which is 10 and 8. The height of the pyramid is perpendicular to that base, so it has to be that 7. Okay, now none of these numbers are divisible by 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this 1/3 until the very end. So I'm going to go ahead and do 10 times 8 and get 80. 80 times 7 and get 560. Now to divide it by 3, I can end up with a decimal or a fraction. If you chose to do your answer as a decimal, you'd end up with 186 and 6/10 repeating. So my final answer would have this 6 with a line over it. Okay, and we'll take a look at the decimal version in just a minute. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at our last problem. This time we have a triangular pyramid. So I write my formula, and I need to plug in my triangle formula for the base area. So instead of that capital B, I'm going to put 1/2 BH. Remember, there's 2 heights here. One height is the height of the triangle, which is perpendicular to the base of the triangle. And the other one is the height of the pyramid, which is perpendicular to the base of the entire pyramid, which is perpendicular to that whole triangle. So I can plug my numbers in. I have my 7 was my base of my triangle, 18 was my height of my triangle, and then 11 is the height of my pyramid. Now, I notice the only number that can go into both 3 and 2 is 18, so that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. 18 divided by 3 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So if I look here, I've turned it into 6 by dividing it by 3. And of course I did my 11 times 7 is 77. Now I'm cutting 6 in half, and I'm getting 3. I could also have chosen to multiply these two together. 1/3 times 1/2 would be 1/6. Multiply 18 by 1/6, which is the same thing as dividing by 6, and I would still get 3. It doesn't matter. Then I multiply my two numbers together, and I end up with my answer. Now, of course, all 3 of these answers are wrong because they do not have my units cubed. So if I take a look here, I can see now I have my units cubed. Whoop. Okay. Notice also on number 2, I do have my answer written as a fraction instead of a decimal. 186 and 2/3 inches cubed. So I can write it that way as well. It will not change my answer. Okay, have a great day.